The iron in your hands is so cold it burns. Your fingers are already numb, wrapped around a spear that feels twice its weight. The wind off the Bosporus knifes through your wool like it's nothing. Salt and smoke cling to the air. Somewhere beyond the dark fields, thousands of men are awake. It is the spring of 1453, and by this time tomorrow, Constantinople may not exist. Behind you rise the Theodosian Walls, stone layered upon stone, built to defy centuries. They have stopped Persians, they have stopped Arabs, they have stopped Crusaders, but they have never faced this. The first cannon fires before sunrise. You don't see the flash, you feel it. A deep, concussive boom that travels through the earth and climbs your bones. The wall trembles under your boots. Dust drifts down from the mortar seams like gray snow. Men along the battlements freeze, eyes wide, waiting for the impact. It comes seconds later. A section of the outer wall explodes outward in a roar of stone and smoke. Not a crack, not a chip, a wound. Someone whispers that the cannonball weighs more than a man. Someone else whispers that it is the work of devils. You do not whisper anything. You watch the smoke clear, and you realize something cold and precise. These walls can break. By full light, the damage is visible. A shallow bite torn from the outer defense. Engineers scramble to reinforce it with rubble and timber. Buckets of dirt are passed hand to hand. Mortar is slapped into cracks with shaking palms. The cannon fires again, and again. Each shot is slow, measured, almost patient. You begin to dread the silence more than the blast. That terrible pause between thunder and impact, when your body tightens without permission and your lungs forget how to breathe. Below, beyond bow range, the Ottoman army reorganizes. Ranks shift like machinery. You see them clearly now. Infantry in layered armor. Archers in disciplined lines. The Janissaries, the Sultan's elite, standing perfectly still, waiting. Behind them looms the great bombard, squat and monstrous, its barrel angled toward your section of wall. You feel very small. The arrows begin mid-morning. They rise in dark waves, thousands at a time, turning the sky into something alive and angry. When they fall, they sound like rain striking 1,000 shields at once. A man beside you drops without a scream. An arrow has punched through the soft place beneath his jaw. His blood runs down the stone and drips through the crenel. You step over him without thinking. You have already learned something about siege warfare. There is no time for grief. By midday, hunger is louder than fear. You haven't eaten properly in days. Supplies are thin. What bread remains is stale and shared between too many hands. The water tastes of old wood and dust. Some barrels have already gone foul. Your stomach gnaws at itself. Your hands shake when you grip your spear, and you don't know if it's fear or weakness. Behind you, in the streets of the city, civilians crowd the churches. They pray. They light candles. They wait for you to hold. You can feel their presence even up here. You are not just defending stone. You are defending the last remnant of an empire that once ruled half the known world, and you are very, very tired. The breach opens in the afternoon. It happens in layers. First, a crack splits wide enough to show daylight through the mortar. Then a section of stone shifts. Then the next cannon shot tears the wall open in a grinding cascade. Stone collapses in slabs. Dust swallows the courtyard. Men cough, choke, stumble backward. And through that rolling gray cloud, shapes begin to move. The first wave is irregular infantry, loud, reckless, driven forward by shouting officers. They crash into the rubble slope where the wall once stood. You descend into the breach. There is no command for it. Your body just moves. The first attacker lunges wildly. You block, thrust, feel resistance, and then warmth across your knuckles. The second slams into your shield with enough force to knock you back a step. More pour in. Your line forms not from discipline, but from instinct. Shield against shield, shoulder against shoulder. The pressure is immediate. The ground beneath you is already slick. You tell yourself not to look down. Time dissolves. Raise shield. Thrust. Push. Do not fall. The world shrinks to the space directly in front of your blade. Faces blur into helmets. Shouts blend into one long animal roar. Your arm goes from burning to numb. You realize, distantly, that if the wall had held, none of this would be happening. Another cannon fires somewhere behind the Ottoman ranks, even now widening the breach. They are not slowing. They are accelerating. The first assault withdraws near sunset. The irregulars pull back, leaving bodies piled in the rubble. For a moment, there is breathing room. Men collapse against broken stone. Some laugh too loudly. Some weep quietly. You stare at your hands. They are trembling so violently, you have to brace your sword against your thigh to steady it. You have survived one wave. You know what that means. The real one is coming next. The Janissaries advance at dusk. No shouting, no wild charge. Just measured steps and locked shields. Their discipline is more frightening than rage. They press forward in coordinated lines, filling the breach with calculated force. When one falls, another takes his place instantly. Your captain screams for you to hold. Behind you lies the inner city, the Hagia Sophia, the narrow streets, the families who cannot run. There is nowhere else to retreat. You feel something strike your leg. Hot, then cold. You remain standing. You lock eyes with a Janissary inches away. His expression is not hatred. It is inevitability. He believes history is on his side. You slam your shield forward and drive your blade beneath his guard. He falls. Another replaces him. You are not fighting a man. You are fighting momentum. Night falls with fire. Parts of the outer district burn. Smoke crawls across the sky, swallowing stars. The air tastes metallic. Somewhere, someone shouts that the emperor is fighting on foot among the defenders. An emperor without a throne. A city without reinforcements. A wall without integrity. You lean back against stone for one breath. Just one. Your fingers will not unclench from your sword. You pry them open. Skin tears from your palm. You barely feel it. The Ottoman campfires stretch across the dark horizon like a second constellation. They are not done. They are preparing. You hear engineers at work beyond the breach. You hear wheels turning. You hear ropes tightening. They are building something new for morning. You close your eyes. Your body feels hollowed out, like your bones have been scooped clean. Your ears ring constantly. Every joint throbs. You have survived 24 hours. But you understand something now. The first day of a siege is not the test. The second day is. When sleep has not restored you. When food is gone. When water is rationed to sips. When fear has had time to grow roots inside your chest. Tomorrow, before dawn, the cannons will fire again. The breach will widen. The Janissaries will come in waves. And if they break through fully, the streets behind you will fill with screams. History tells us what happens next. The question is not whether Constantinople falls. The question is whether you are still standing when it does. When the gates finally open and the banners change, and the city that was once Rome becomes something else entirely. Are you on your feet, or are you already part of the rubble beneath them? Tell me below in the comments.